All set? Okay. I'd like to call to order our Monday, January 25th, 2021 regular board meeting. We'll begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our mission is to educate, empower, and inspire excellence. This meeting is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting school corporation business. It is not considered a public community meeting. There will be time for public participation as indicated on the agenda. This meeting site is fully accessible. The meeting is also being live streamed, so we welcome everyone out there who would be viewing. Reminder, all board members were provided with the background information to the various items on the agenda in preparation of this meeting. We do have public comment forms at the podium, so if anyone would like to address the board at the appropriate time, please fill out one of the public comment forms and return it to the board table here to Attorney Elwood. So to begin our meeting, we'll start with our EL presentation for Mrs. Williams.
Thank you for the opportunity to provide you with a more in-depth view of the EL program at Portage Township Schools. This is Linda Williams, Director of Grants and Assessment, and with me is Jen Hernandez-McDowell, EL Specialist for our district. I'd like to start by taking a look at the overall picture of our students and staffing over the past few years. As you can see from this slide, we currently have 212 English learners, or 2.9% of our overall population, spread throughout all 11 buildings. I'd also like to highlight our staffing situation. Prior to the 2016-17 school year, our program consisted of 3 paraprofessionals providing pull-out instruction to our EL students. I'm pleased to share, though, that under our current administration, we've been able to move in the right direction. First, with the hiring of our EL specialist, and later with the addition of 2 additional ENL certified teachers. This brings our teacher-student ratio down to our current level of 1 to 70, from a previous high of 1 to 164. We're going to return to this point a little later in our presentation, but first, we'd like to tell you more about the actual program and curriculum.
Hello and thank you for this wonderful opportunity. In the beginning of 2020-2021 academic school year, Cheryl Moran, Susana Muniz, and I sent out a unified video explaining our sheltered English as a new language classes across the secondary schools. The video also explained our roles as ENL teachers and how we are here not only to support the EL students, but also to support the content area teachers in supporting our English language students in all of their classes. We invite you to take a look at our video. The Newcomer Summer School. In the first year, we had 3 students, and in the second year, we had 2 students, but they were virtual. Here's a screenshot of what I was able to cover with one of our students. This is the student's second time of the Newcomer Summer School, and we were able to review, but also go further in helping her develop her academic English to prepare her for her next year in middle school. Our 2020-2021 COVID response. Unlike college students, our students did not get to choose to be online students. And when we scattered in March, we were working on research skills. Therefore, at Portage High School, we interviewed a historical female figure for the first quarter, then learned about simple machines and wrote to Bill Nye about their complex machine science experiments in the second quarter. Students are shy in a general classroom. Having additional technology allowed students to produce language with a filter because now they were pre-recorded for every assignment, and therefore this lowered their affective filter. They were willing to take more risks because they knew they had opportunities to re-record and submit their best work. I'd like to share with you 2 snippets of students' work. Here we have a student who also participated in this past newcomer summer school.
What is a way to make a difference in people's life? One way to make a difference is to speak for others who are weaker.
Then we have Damien, who is also a freshman. This is one of 3 videos from him testing his prototype of a healthy vending machine after deciding to solve a problem at Portage High School that students don't want to wait in long lines, but the vending machines are not available during lunch.
In the back so the snacks can lift up. Now to me, it would be a success because the pulley the lever would pull down and the pulley will pull up the snacks.
For the secondary EL curriculum, we will be adding ILET ELL. This allows for synchronous instruction and has newcomer support built in, and it has reading levels. We are very thankful and excited to pilot this in ENL. Let's move into the elementary EL program. Our intention and direction for 2020-2021 academic school year was to retire pull-out services for push-in services. Our COVID response at the elementary level. The virtual asynchronous English learner instruction is available to all students at all 8 elementary schools. For the students who have returned to the classroom, the EL services should be embedded in students' ELA blocks. This allows teachers to utilize the supporting English language development section of Benchmark without adding or creating separate time for EL services. If the EL student is virtual, the virtual teacher can still assign student time to work on the videos. We hope to move forward with our new EL plan for elementary EL services the next academic year. The EL team is committed to attending and participating with professional development, whether we're in person or virtual. This year, we were able to participate virtually, but also be leaders. 2 EL assistants and myself led a workshop for how to create virtual content. Both in TESOL 2020 presentations can be found on this QR code. In 2019, we had 6 content area teachers attend, not including the 3 members of the EL team who also attended. At Portage High School, teachers were able to access the WIDA 101 professional development video on their personal devices. We will be sending out this video to all staff of PTS per state compliance. In 2018, TESOL gave a presentation in Chicago, and I was able to take 2 teachers from Portage High School, including a special ed teacher. If you would like to see our notes or more professional development that we have participated in, I invite you to scan this QR code.
In the spring of 2019, we began to plan for SIOP, or Sheltered Instruction Observation Protocol, training for teachers across the district. We'd identified a small cohort of 3 teachers that had already been trained and planned to leverage their expertise along with newly trained teachers in an effort to meet the needs of our English learners. Those plans had to be paused, however, as the IDOE announced updated guidance stating that the caseload of a certified teacher of record not exceed 30 English learners. This brings us back to that ratio I'd mentioned earlier of 1 ENL certified teacher for 70 students. While we're in better shape than we were just a few years ago, we're still not quite where we want to be. This led us to temporarily change our focus to encouraging teachers to pursue ENL licensure and selected Purdue's strong graduate program in this area. We currently have a cohort of 3 PTS teachers working toward licensure and hope to start a new group soon. Thank you again for the opportunity to highlight our English Learner program. If you have any questions about the curriculum or the services, please contact Jen. Or if you have questions about the overall program and funding, I'd be happy to assist you.
Thank you for that presentation. Do we have any comments or questions from the board?
I'd like to say that I appreciate the additional support for our students. However, 1 to 70 is still high, so I look forward to having those numbers decrease in terms of support, for increase in terms of teachers, paras. Definitely would like to see the instructors fully trained and have support not only from the district but also from the state. So again, I like to say that we have come, a long way, but we still have to make some growth.
Yes, we do absolutely have a ways to go still. I do appreciate the leadership of course, Linda and the entire team with Jen as well, and the other teachers and paraprofessionals. It is exciting that we have 3 of our current PTS teachers getting the licensure, and as Mrs. Williams stated, we'll continue to increase those. We will be also revisiting the SIAP training, so that is also going to be a priority as we move forward. And I couldn't agree more. As much as we have brought that ratio down, we do have still a lot of work to do.
Yes, we do. Thank you.
More of a comment and then a question. Good job, as you just stated, on getting the numbers down, especially from the starting point of having nothing to getting the numbers down to 1 to 73, I believe is what I saw. So excited about knowing that we are going to continue to work in that area. But my question is about the partnership with Purdue Northwest. Do we provide support to our staff to work on those licensures?
Yes, we do, and Mrs. Williams would be able to better answer that question if you wouldn't mind coming up.
And I only ask because that may garner additional interest if teachers knew that we were providing that additional support for that license.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will continue to do that. Also, just within the last couple of weeks, as the licensure qualifying exam is coming up, as a district, we are covering the cost of that through grants, so that, again, teachers are not forced to put that burden on themselves to also fund that, as we recognize that they are doing something to benefit themselves professionally, but also ultimately benefit our students. So we want to recognize that and not make them take additional dollars out of their own pocket.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Very good. Okay, we'll move on now to our next presentation of the Indiana Principals Leadership Institute and the High Reliability Schools intersection. Dr. Stevens, is it you?
Welcome. My name is Anne Marie Caballero, principal of Fagley and one of the IPLI Year 2 candidates. The Portage IPLI candidates have put together a short presentation to inform you of our ongoing work within the program and share some of our positive experiences. IPLI is a 2-year institute designed to address the professional needs of Indiana principals with an emphasis on student success. Some of the wonderful opportunities we are able to experience are small regional cohorts for that one-to-one mentorship, seminars featuring nationally recognized leaders like John Hattie, Todd Whitaker, and Tammy Heffelbauer, collaborative settings and networking, and resources to support our needs, including Marzano's High Reliability Schools. Here, are a few thoughts from our PTS candidates that are within their first year.
Our focus this year has been on increasing our leadership capacities by utilizing the action research process. Throughout our first year, we have been guided by highly trained mentors, which provide continual support to develop and implement our year-long action research project. These projects consist of collecting data, analyzing the data, practice, and adjusting our practice as we reflect on our progress.
I was asked to look inwardly at my practice and wonder about an area or an aspect of my leadership that I would like to improve or develop. Through that introspection, I realized that as a new principal of Paul Saylor, the relationships that I build with my staff are incredibly important. Therefore, how can I implement strategies within my leadership practice that will help me to build productive and collaborative relationships with my staff?
We are split into a group of about 6 and assigned a mentor. I have reached out to them several times already. For instance, when we were going back to in-person learning, I reached out to those in my cohort that were already in person so we could learn from what they were doing.
I get feedback from my mentor, and just through meeting with my cohort, we have had some really thoughtful and collaborative discussion, and I feel like that has also improved me as a principal.
Throughout my short time with IPLI, I have had the opportunity to meet and collaborate with other administrators across our state. Together, we have spent time sharing ideas and learning from each other.
My action research project is basically focusing on areas that I can improve relationships with my staff. And I think implementing the strategies that I have developed and really thinking through how those strategies are being implemented and reflecting on the productivity and basically positive effects of those strategies are very valuable and keep me focused on improving.
Earlier this year, through IPLI, I gave my staff a survey about my leadership. When I got the results, I used that as a springboard to identify areas of improvement. The areas that my staff saw were also areas that I felt I could grow. I'm thankful for the feedback, so I know what I'm doing well and what I need to focus on.
Being part of IPLI has challenged me to look further into my leadership practices. My personal goal throughout this year has been to step it up as the instructional leader, and I have made this goal the driving force of my action research project. I started by taking a practice that I have used for several years, the 2 to 3 minute walkthroughs. I have been utilizing the data that I collected from my teachers this school year to help improve the way I share feedback and provide the necessary support for our teachers at Central Elementary. This process has led me to become a more reflective leader.
All of this has pushed me to improve and focus on the area of improvement that I want to focus on, and has provided me support along the way to make that happen.
As a part of IPLI, I gained membership to the Indiana Association of School Principals. I'm able to attend their annual conference, and I have been able to start classes towards my educational specialist degree at a reduced rate through Indiana State University.
I am looking forward to the knowledge and collaboration that IPLI continues to provide for all of its participants. Thank you so much to Portage Township Schools for allowing us the opportunity to be a part of this amazing program.
IPLI supports 2 of our 4 district goals. Goal 1, PTS will create a culture of high achievement. And Goal 3, PTS will create a culture of collaboration and acceptance and a safe and secure learning environment. Now here are a few thoughts from your PTS Year 2 candidates.
Through year 2 of IPLI, the focus has been on collaboration and creating school improvement through a research-based approach. To be more specific, the IPLI process allowed me to select 2 teacher leaders within the building. We then had the opportunity to learn and research the remarkable differences in which PLCs contribute to student achievement. Additionally, IPLI provided us with the tools to survey our teachers and administrators to determine our strengths and weaknesses within the first 3 levels of HRS. With the collected data, the teachers and myself were provided the framework to develop and implement a school-wide initiative as a first step towards developing meaningful professional learning communities at Portage High School.
The second year, we focused really in on our building, and the learning has been, how do we look at our building as a whole? How do we gather information, effective information from our community, students, parents, staff, to look at a weakness perhaps and turn it into a strength? So that really has been the focus of learning how to look at that data, that very rich data that we collect through the HRS process, and sending out those surveys and really delving into the data, breaking it down, and coming up with an action research project that created with some teacher leaders within the building, and putting it out there, working collaborative with the teachers to really, really improve on something that we all feel is very important.
In year 2, we are focusing on bettering the school. In doing so, myself and one of my teacher leaders, 3rd grade teacher Nicole Clark, are working on providing opportunities for our teachers to learn from each other through participating in instructional rounds. HRS Level 2, Effective Teaching in Every Classroom, is the foundation of this focus, and during these instructional rounds, completed both virtually and in person, teachers are observing fellow colleagues and learning from the talented staff that we have here in PTS. There is so much that can be learned from high-quality modeled instruction, and Portage has a lot of that going around. IPLI also provides an opportunity to grow both personally and professionally through honest feedback from staff on school surveys, as well as reflection and change that came as a result of the past 2 years.
Sharing what I have learned about self-care, making sure that that is at the forefront of the things that we do, teaching the teachers that we need to self-care so we can be there for our students, and making Fagley the best it can be, not only through education and the content that we're teaching and the lesson plans that we're creating and looking at that data and making effective assessments, but also, are we doing the SEL portion? And how do we do that effectively if we're not self-caring? So incorporating self-care within our PD throughout the week here at Fagley has been a game changer for many, many people. And really, everybody is just kind of taking a step back and thinking to themselves, wow, I need to focus on this a little bit more for myself so that I can do this for others. So that has been a definite change.
There's no question. IPLI has become such a meaningful piece in my continuous development as a school leader. It has provided me with the opportunity to network, build professional collaborative relationships, attend meaningful, powerful professional development led by prominent leaders within education, and it allowed me to trust, delegate, and find leaders within the building to help implement research-based initiatives to increase teacher efficacy and, most importantly, student achievement.
Through IPLI, I believe the biggest change that has come to me has been expanding my knowledge of the HRS process, as well as being mindful and purposeful of professional development and productive PLCs, really breaking down and getting those voices from the community, from parents, from students, so we can be mindful of the things that we do and purposeful for the professional development that we're offering in the building, and making sure that our teachers have what they need to be productive, and for both the SEL aspect of our school as well as the academic aspect. So taking in all of those things that we have been working on within our building and in our district through the HRS process and really just expanding that knowledge. It has been very enlightening, and getting to network with other schools and other leaders and learning. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can make it our own, but we can definitely grow and learn from everybody around us.
All these mentioned benefits and opportunities derived from IPLI would have never happened without the support from Dr. Alanis, Dr. Stevens, and the Portage Township School Board. Thank you for supporting initiatives such as the IPLI and allowing us the opportunity to inspire excellence.
Through my experiences in IPLI, I have found myself working each day towards making Myers a safe and collaborative community whose number one goal is children first. So thank you to Dr. Alanis, Dr. Steven, and the board for this wonderful opportunity.
Prior to the pandemic, Cohort 7 was able to meet in person at several different seminars and our monthly regional cohort meetings. Here are just a few pictures of your PTS principals that were featured on the IPLI website. On behalf of John Evers, Michelle Helwige, Brian Jones, Sue Solar, Taria Taylor, and myself, thank you, Dr. Alanis, thank you, Dr. Stevens, and thank you to our PTS board for this wonderful opportunity. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Great presentation. Sounds like an awesome program. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I just have comments. It is a great program. They spoke about some of the individuals they have that present there. Dr. Whitaker, I have had the fortunate opportunity to have him torture me a few times as he was the chair for my dissertation. He's a phenomenal guy, and I'm happy to hear that they're saying some key things: leadership, relationships. I'm happy that you all have provided those opportunities for them, because there's nothing more important than establishing relationships with your staff, with the community, and with our parents and students, especially in the times that we're living in right now, and the risks that they're taking to get that feedback. That's risk. To be able to go out to get information from your staff to say, how am I doing? And then to create a plan from getting that risky information back to say, oh my gosh, here I am. So I'm happy for them to say that I want to grow, I want to collaborate with my team and my staff and my building, and I want to grow in the field of education. So I want to say thank you to Dr. Alanis and thank you to Dr. Stevens for presenting these opportunities to our fellow educators.
I also have had firsthand opportunity and experience in this professional development opportunity. And the words, as we heard earlier, collaboration, trust, leadership, the relationships that bring them all together with their staff and their families and their students. That self-care component is incredible. I mean, if we can't take care of ourselves first, how are we going to take care of other individuals? So I think it's an incredible investment for the time, the funds, and everything, that the energy and the commitment, because ultimately our children and our families are going to benefit. Now I have a question. Have all the principals had this opportunity?
We have not had every principal go through this as an opportunity, but Dr. Stevens can provide some further insight on that.
Just so you're aware, that's what I wanted to kind of clarify and share a little bit. So this is only available to lead principals. You see that Brian Jones, we had to pull a couple of strings and officially name him, because he was named associate principal, he was available to partake in that. But we currently have 2 more principals that are interested in moving into the next cohort. They have applied, and I have signed off on those applications. And then also, you hear a lot of of different acronyms, but there's another one called INALI, but that's the Indiana New Leaders. And so we have two of our assistant principals that are applying to that as well, so that we try to continue to build the professional development across all of our different areas. And you saw that all three levels were represented there. I will also tell you that in the olden days, when I was also a principal, Michelle Stewart was part of a previous incarnation called IPLA. So she went through that training, she would say back in the day. And then I have also nominated Scott Hufford to be one of those mentors that they have talked about in here, because he's got a great deal of experience and a wealth of knowledge that I think students or people like the people that are in these classes could benefit from. So we are really interested in sharing this across the board of all of our leadership. And so the first year is really about introspection. You kind of learn about yourself and take those risks that Dr. Finley mentioned. And then the second year is to reach out to other leaders in your building and try to build leadership capacity. And so you can kind of see that there. But we want to try to not displace our current principals, but if and when they were to move on, we want to have people in the pipeline that we have helped move forward and learn from that, so that we have good leadership within our buildings and ready to step up and take those leadership reins like Jenna Bleck did this year. You know, we have looked to our own internal group to say who is the next level of leaders. So it's, as you said, I think it's a great group and also a great program. It's very beneficial to what we have done, and it has really helped build the vocabulary of instruction across all of Portage. So we certainly appreciate that. Thank you for the support that you have allowed this to happen and kind of condoned that. And thank you to those that have helped make it work because of the funding and the like that. Linda's group and Nick's group have both helped fund this and make this work for our administrators. We certainly appreciate it.
Share that our leaders in the program have been excited when they've come back after hearing Tammy Heflebauer from Marzano's research lab with high reliability schools and the research with Hattie's work. So making sure that we're putting in front of our students the best instructional practices, building those relationships, making sure we're prioritizing the instructional practices in the classroom. It's also helped, as we've furthered, as Dr. Stevens, the opportunities for our leadership team to learn from one another. They are just by nature an extremely collaborative group. And so although there are some of them who are in the program and others who are not, it is really encouraging to see how they're gaining confidence as young leaders in the administrative team. And then you always have those principals that have maybe been doing this for 15, 20 or more years, and they're just as interested and supportive and passionate about the work that those folks are doing and willing to learn from it, because as you see yourself, it's very authentic. They're learning about themselves, they're learning about how to be a leader in the changing world that we all live in, and they're willing to take those risks, as you've all mentioned.
Thank you. Any other comments? Thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda adjustments. Are there any adjustments to the agenda from the board? Okay, we'll move on now. Our superintendent's consent agenda, which has got the personnel report for January 25th, 2021. The donation report for January 25th, 2021, and the claims report for January 25th, and our facility use request report. Do we have a motion to approve the superintendent's consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
With the motion, a second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Finley.
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Trustee Maleta.
Yes.
Trustee Williams, yes. Trustee Wilkie.
Yes.
Next, we have our board's consent agenda, which has got our meeting minutes of the discussion meeting from January the 11th, 2021, minutes from the executive session board retreat of January 13th, 2021. Do you have a motion to approve the board's consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the board consent agenda.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Call roll, please.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes?
Trustee Maleta.
Yes.
Trustee Williams, yes. Trustee Wilkie.
Yes.
Trustee Finley.
Yes.
Next, we'll move on to our board development and committee reports. Do any board members have reports from their respective committees?
I just wanted to share that because I didn't share it last time we met. We do have a new state superintendent. I didn't share it the last time we met, and I do apologize. Her name is Katie Jenner. She is our first ever appointed state superintendent, and she started on January the 11th at our first meeting that we had for the month of January. So I wanted to share that, and that the governor did release his budget on January the 13th, and he did share that he has recommended to the state legislators that he wants to have a tuition ADM support increase of 2% in fiscal year 2022, which starts in July of 2021. And then he's looking at another possible 1% increase in fiscal year 2023, which starts in July of 2022. There's a lot of other stuff that goes on in between there, which we'll talk about later. And as a reminder, State House Day is February the 9th, if you all are interested in attending as school board members. And our Senate confirmation hearing process will hopefully start soon for our Miguel Cardona, who is the new, hopefully he'll be confirmed with no issues, who'll be our new federal education secretary. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Trustee Vasquez?
Yes, I have a couple comments from the Portage Education Foundation. The first 500 club drawing of the year took place on January the 12th. So a special thank you to all who purchased tickets. There were approximately 400 tickets that have been sold, and if you're still interested, you may still buy tickets, and they are $25. The Jean Jaunt fundraiser was a success. The foundation thanks our superintendent and all our staff members who participated and made cash donations to wear jeans for a week. And all employees have been notified that the grant cycle is now open and their proposals will be accepted until March the 31st. Please keep in mind that all staff are invited to submit proposals. I informed the board that I was reappointed to continue to serve as our liaison. They appreciate the reports that are made during these school board meetings. I'm really grateful that I have been given the opportunity once again to work with such dedicated and passionate individuals who volunteer their time. And they do that to make our school district more successful for our students and staff. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other reports? Okay. Let's move on to old business. First, we have our rescheduling our March regular board meeting. As you remember, at our last meeting, it was discussed, there were 2 days thrown out there, March 15th and March 29th. I did hear from a couple of board members that March 29th was not going to work. So at this time, I'd like to make the motion that we move our March regular board meeting to March the 15th. I made the motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We call the roll, please.
Trustee Maleta.
Yes.
Trustee Williams, yes. Trustee Wilkie.
Yes.
Trustee Finley.
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to new business. We have our approval of the spring musical proposal for 2021.
I'm excited to share the proposal with you this evening. You're a good man, Charlie Brown. This offers a small cast that can be adequately distanced on stage, but allows for also a small 5-person ensemble in the pit. So at this point in time, they are looking for the performances Friday, April 23rd, Saturday, April 24th, with a pre-recorded matinee on the 25th. And I have provided as well the profit loss summary as Mahafa has done for us in the past.
Very good. We have a motion to approve the spring musical proposal for 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
A motion and a second. Any discussion? I'd just like to say the proposals, it's very detailed, profit and loss. I mean, excellent job. So thank you for presenting us all that information. It makes it a lot easier for us to make these determinations. Any other comments or discussion?
I just appreciate the fact that, you know, this is going to be a very family-friendly program and presentation. I think all families, regardless of their age group, they're going to enjoy it.
Very good. Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Trustee Williams, yes. Trustee Wilkie.
Yes.
Trustee Finley.
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Trustee Mileta.
Yes. Next, we have our approval of the 2021 Employee Handbook.
This was revised by Mrs. Clark, the Director of Human Resources, with the help of our benefits specialist and our payroll supervisor, and reviewed by Attorney Elwood.
Do we have a motion to approve the 2021 Employee Handbook?
I make a motion to approve the 2021 Employee Handbook.
Second?
We have the motion and a second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Wilkie.
Yes.
Trustee Finley.
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Trustee Mileta.
Yes.
Trustee Williams, yes.
Next, we have the approval of the attorney contract. Do you have a motion to approve the attorney contract?
I don't know. I think I'll make a motion to approve the attorney contract.
I second it.
Very questionable, very questionable.
Any discussion about the attorney's contract?
I'd just like to say that I appreciate everything that our attorney does for us. He goes beyond what I think other attorneys have done for their school district. He is always available, whether via text, email, phone call, and I just appreciate the fact that he has that sense of pride for our district and that sense of belonging and commitment. And so I'm very happy that we're approving this tonight.
And we definitely have a relationship, right?
Yes.
That's important.
Thank you, very kind.
Yeah, and I'll echo those comments. It's awesome to have an attorney who is so invested in the district, and he is readily available to us at all times. I mean, your response is incredible when things come up and we need it, and I appreciate you being here. You certainly have helped me during my years on the board with a lot of things that come up to be able to explain those, and it's awesome to have you, so.
Thank you.
We call the roll, please.
Yes. Trustee Finley.
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Trustee Mileta.
Yes.
Trustee Williams, yes. Trustee Wilkie.
Yes.
Okay, next we have the adoption of Resolution R1-2021. How much of this do I need to read, Attorney Elwood?
By title is sufficient, actually.
I'm sorry?
Just a transfer.
Ken, can you repeat that?
Yes, I'm sorry. Title only, and then if you would just read Educational Fund, and then the title Educational Fund, and then Operations Fund, and then the total for both. So just the
Okay.
first two paragraphs, the title Educational Fund, and then the total transfer, the 379,
Right.
and then the
The
Operations Fund, and then that total.
Okay. Whereas it has been determined that it is now necessary to transfer appropriations within the Education Fund and the Operation Fund budgets, and now therefore be it resolved by the Board of School Trustees of Portage Township Schools, Porter County, Portage, Indiana, that for the expenses of said school corporation, the following sums of money are hereby transferred for the purpose of specific herein, subject to the laws governing the same with an effective date of December 31st, 2020. Our Education Fund of $379,142.76, and our operational fund of $1,106,499.41, adopted this 25th day of January 2021. Do we have a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments, discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Trustee Vasquez.
Yes?
Trustee Maleta.
Yes.
Trustee Williams, yes. Trustee Wilkie. Trustee Finley.
Yes.
Next, we'll move on to our superintendent reports. Dr. Alanis.
I would like to just first thank the board for looking to consider the program for our bonds for 2021, as we had our first hearing today on those. I want to thank our internal team and, of course, those who we partner with for our finances, as well as our architects and Skillman Corporation as well. I also wanted to mention in particular something that I feel is important to mention, and a true honor to share with all of you as you oversee the finances of this school district and our finance department, as led by Mr. Nick Grahn. I want to share that the DUAB report, the Distressed Unit Appeal Board, it should be noted that based on the fiscal indicators, it confirms the strong financial position of Portage Township Schools, and due to this position, we will we retain our programmatic bond rating of a AA+ from S&P Global Rating. That was in September of 2020, and it is among the highest ratings of any school corporation in the state, and this is why we are provided the premium interest rates on debt issued for future capital needs. So again, I commend the board for your responsibilities and your fiscal management, and I think it should be noted in the minutes and publicly stated that this is something to be very proud of as a school district. I also wanted to share with you that February 3rd, we are having our virtual parent-teacher-student conferences for the elementary, and Dr. Stevens is working with secondary on their parent-teacher-student conferences. We have a hefty goal of 100% participation, and we're going to see what we can do to get there. Also, we will be scheduling a committee meeting. Mrs. Langren and I worked through policy last week, so we'll be scheduling an upcoming policy meeting. And Trustee Williams, Mrs. Olson and I spoke last week, and they're going to get back together on to follow up from the September meeting. Obviously, due to the pandemic, Mrs. Olson's been a little busy. Also, just to share with you, I'm going to have it in this week's update and asking you to check, you don't have to write this down at the moment, either March 2nd, 9th, or 16th. I would like to schedule another board tour of another location. We wanted to do that 3 or 4 times a year outside of our regular meetings, and so I would like to schedule another one of those if possible. I want to extend my appreciation to Mr. DePasquale, who has been leading the 10 Million Project Initiative. Attorney Elwood did provide feedback regarding that particular contract, and it is approved from a legal standpoint. Again, this will expand our ability to have families connected with Wi-Fi with an additional 500 devices. It will be provided for those families and individual students in need, which is approximately, I believe, $100,000 in device. Okay. So it's about $100,000 a year, $45,000 approximately in the devices, about $50,000 in the bandwidth, and that's a 5-year commitment without a charge to this school district. I'm really proud of the team for continuing to prioritize this. As we've discussed, this has been a priority of the board regardless of a pandemic, but definitely realized even more so in this time. I had, Dr. Stevens and I had watched a pre-recorded 2-part series webinar last week, And that was one of the things that they really strongly suggested was connectivity and individual student devices. And you can start to change the game for some of our students. Anytime, anywhere learning, and they are not then at a disadvantage as far as being able to work from home as well. So I want to thank the team for that. We're off to a great start for quarter 3. Our students are very excited to be back. Our teachers and our staff continue to amaze me. The ability to see our kids interacting and building those relationships with our entire school community and their teachers is truly just a blessing each day that they actually get to walk through the doors of the building. However, I also want to mention we're very impressed with our teachers who are overseen by Mr. DiPasquale, who are the virtual teachers, and the connections they're continuing to build with those students as well. And we want to make sure that we prioritize, regardless of a child being virtual or in person. They are ours, we are here for them, and we want to continue to engage on all levels. Also, we'll be completing sooner than later the quarter 4 survey for families to select if their child will be in person or virtual. Some information will be coming to you as that time approaches. Mr. Lesich and I met last week regarding the 21-22 school registration process. So you'll have some of that information in this week's update, and we will continue with that spring registration window. You've been provided the East Pool update for this week, and I want to thank Mrs. DeBrzlawi as she has continued, and this one in particular as well, has been uploaded on that community site portion. And I'm going to ask this week that the newsletter specifically points out that you can go there and see how this pool is progressing. The only other item I had is that we're very much watching the weather this evening, and we will be having some further information as need be in the coming evening hours and early morning hours. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
It's just a statement. I want to say thank you to the IT department and Dr. Alanez and all of the principals at all of the buildings and the athletic department. They have done a great job of helping us navigate athletics at home because we've not been able to be in attendance at events in person. We've been able to watch them at home via the YouTube channel. So everybody has a YouTube channel now, which I love. But I want to say that even if the students travel to another school, they've been great about giving us that information when students travel to different schools. So I'm asking and I'm hoping that we can continue this moving forward because there is a need, especially if grandparents and other people can't go to a game in the future. So I want to say it's something that I have fallen in love with personally. So I wanted to say that out loud, and I know I'm not alone in that. So thank you.
Dr. Stevens did receive some phone calls from some very happy grandparents who cannot attend games. Mrs. Clark mentioned that her son, who is a resident physician in Indianapolis, is watching her child's games, who is still a high school student, and we've had some others also share that. So we do plan to keep that moving forward. We had already put it in place at the high school in a more specific long-term approach, but we've had a lot of very good feedback, and definitely something we'll keep around. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Any other items not on the agenda from the board?
That's good.
I do have one. It was a suggestion by a board member. As we are approaching almost 1 year now of this pandemic, and when schools closed in March of last year, it's good to see everybody here live for our board meeting today. It feels better to conduct business this way than it does online. But I know there have been many within our district, employees as well as community members who have had loved ones, friends, family that have suffered or have passed due to the coronavirus and this pandemic, I'd like to ask now for just a moment of silence and remembrance of all those that have gone. Thank you. Our next meeting is February the 8th. I don't believe we received any public comment forms.
We have not.
So with that, this